I want to start off with Snap the Sentinel because I know technically this is an SRB2 podcast, but this, it's a game that has been made by pretty much all really prominent members of the community, and it's a game that really, I think, if you even remotely enjoy like Doom type games and shoot 'em ups, you will enjoy. So, and plus, like this game, SRB2 being around for as long as it has, at having like an actual legal way to like support some of the people who are behind it is super cool to me. So I think Sev, I basically, with Snap the Sentinel, I mean, in case anyone doesn't know what it is, it was a game created for the I think it's the 7D FPS Jam or 7-day FPS Game Jam.
Yeah, 7-day first-person shooter, so 7D FPS. And
the team would be SeventhSentinel, Jack Jims, who you might know from 3D Model Person, Velocitoni. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I think you are.
Chengi, and I believe some others. Chengi, and I believe some others were all involved in that project. So it's a really cool project. I think it's well worth your time to check it out.
You listed everybody except for TehRealSalt.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
You know what? The reason I didn't list TehRealSalt is because I was looking at the tweet that TehRealSalt made about it, but they only listed every other person in the tweet, and I wasn't looking at the at the top. So might be.
You're good.
And yeah, just to like a quick little rundown. It is a Doom-like that's inspired by SNES and Genesis era run-and-gun games. It has all these different power-ups and it has like 5 really big levels. It even has a hard mode where the levels are different, and some of them, like there's even one level in hard mode where you go through it kind of backwards, so it's pretty replayable.
Oh, really?
And it's just it's a lot of like really cool arcade fun. And I just thought, like, because this thing was made in like 3 weeks, so I'm really excited to talk about it, at least for a little bit. So I just wanted to talk to Sev for a bit, like, how did this project really like come to exist? Because this is pretty random, to be honest, that it exists.
Also,
that's a fair observation. Or were you going to say something, Lars?
Oh yeah. Do you want me to pull up some Snap gameplay real quick?
I would love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can boot the game, or you can show everybody the trailer. But yeah, I'll just go ahead and start. So basically, the way that Snap started was just as Snap was going to be just my OC, because like everybody not everybody, but like a lot of people in this community have characters that represent them these days, and because what I had before was I just had like an anthropomorphic 7 with arms and legs and sunglasses, and I knew that if that was ever going to be like in SRB2 cart, then it wasn't going to work that well, because like from the back all you were going to see was a rectangle. So I kind of threw some ideas around for a long time, and I knew I wanted to make my username make sense in the context of the character. So I created Snap, and I gave Velocitoni a really crappy, pretty much MS Paint drawing of him, and he really brought the character to life. So then a week or two passed, and my lovely girlfriend TehRealSalt, who I will refer to from here on out as Sally, because everybody calls her that. Sally came up to me, and she was like, "Hey, I just heard about this first-person shooter game jam. Do you want to help me make a game?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I want to help you make a game." And the way that she heard about it, because she follows Terminus EST13, Terminus EST13, however you pronounce that. She follows that guy on Twitter, and Terminus is a very prominent figure in the GZ Doom, Z Doom, whatever community. So Terminus had tweeted about it, and that's how she heard of it rather. And we were talking about it in a little bit, and I wanted to help her do it, and she's like, "Okay, well we need to figure out like what we're making this game about exactly." And I said, "Well, why don't we use my new character Snap, and she said okay. Some people do get confused, and like they think the character was made for the game jam. It was actually the other way around. So
Yeah, I was wondering
I know
about that.
I know it was Sev's avatar on Discord for longer than that.
Because I remember, I think Hinote did a take on your character, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, as I saw him on Twitter. And
I haven't seen that.
You were trying to think of a name for it for a little bit, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, like I had a couple ideas for him, but like one of the first ideas I had for him was Snap. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna name him Snap. That's too on the nose. And then like a week or two later, I still didn't have a name, so I'm just like, all right, I'm calling him Snap. That's it.
I mean,
It's
we live in a world where there's a character named Tails who has tails. Wow.
I figured it was fine because I mean, yeah, there's Tails, and then like Sonic is named Sonic because he goes fast, and I'm just like, you know what, it's fine. It makes sense. It makes enough sense.
And you know, another thing that I'm kind of realizing now is that like there aren't a lot of like I almost feel like this game fills a bit of a void that doesn't exist because like you know back during those early shooter days when Doom was created, like there wasn't really like I guess a 90s mascot shooter game.
You know, I
Not
haven't
that
really
I
thought
know
about
of.
that, but you're right.
Yeah, it's basically something that doesn't exist. I'm sure it does exist, but you know, it's probably not as funny as Turtle Man run around with a gun.
Yeah, I mean, I think the closest you really get there is like Jazz Jackrabbit, but then that's a 2D shooter, so...
Oh, I don't know anything about Jazz Jackrabbit, actually.
Jazz Jackrabbit is also a very fast character.
Okay.
There's some good music in that game. If you ever have time, you guys should all check it out a little bit.
Definitely.
Right, where was I?
Do.
Oh yeah, I also wanted to say, like, so another thing that really impressed me with this game, besides the fact that, you know, Snap is a really cool character and the game just feels really good, like, when you compare this game to Doom, it is a lot more arcadey, a lot more like almost like Contra-y or like
Gunstar
a
Heroes.
Yeah, and I just thought like maybe you could talk a little bit about like what you were thinking about gameplay wise with this game to like set it apart from Doom, because it's kind of stands on its own even though it has the same control scheme and everything.
Well, I do have to preface this by saying, like, I personally did not have, like, that much to do with the game mechanics, because all the programming was Sally's work. So she got to decide, like, the vast majority of what was going in the game.
Right.
But I know, like, her main inspiration was, like, Gunstar Heroes. I mean, she wanted to take stuff from, like, all kinds of stuff, like, you know, Wild Guns, Metal Slug, Contra, like, all those 16-bit type running guns. So like that was the main inspiration behind like most of the weapons and things. As far as like the level layouts, those are more inspired by the Megawad's Scythe and Scythe 2 for Doom 2, because the way those are laid out is like you kind of get this. Well, the way her favorite levels are laid out anyway is you kind of get this central area, and then things that kind of branch off it and come back in and you know sort of guide the player to where they need to go next. So we really wanted to replicate that because we thought that was a really good way to design the levels.
Huh. Because also I think the modern Doom games do that pretty well too, and that's my only Doom background. So this, even though it was based off of classic Doom, it felt right at home for me.
I am glad. But yeah, I've always been a big fan of like Doom 1, and you know I like Doom 2. So you know, Sally and I had both made several Doom maps in the past, so you know we had enough practice.
Yeah, like I remember back in the day, like when we all first like got together, like you, Sal, and I, we used to play a lot of that one Doom mod, Sarah's Stronghold, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's called Samsara, right?
Samsara Stronghold, I do believe. And that was like genuinely one of the best Doom experience I ever had with anybody. For the most
really?
part. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great mod.
Would you recommend it to someone like me who hasn't played Doom 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever?
Honestly, if you, Kwiin, and even Sev sometimes want to like get together and just do a couple rounds, because it's kind of like endurance, like, you know, you just stay alive and get through all the waves. But honestly, like it's just a fun like cooperative like FPS with everybody. Like Sally and I used to do a lot of runs.
Weird. Yeah, I'm weird and haven't really bothered with FPSs aside from Snap. So I will say you did a good job at making it really accessible. Because I can understand generally what was going on without a background in FPS games.
Yeah, I'm really proud of how accessible we made it. It's all really Sally's great work to make it that way.
She kicks ass. That's all I'll say. I really like her a lot. You guys are one of like the closest friends I have in SRB2, so I really appreciate it.
Just making something cool.
That's very cute.
Thank you. Oh.
Never do that again.
Alright, my bad.
No. We embrace cuteness. We embrace weirdness. And yeah. I also have in my show notes just a bullet point that says you can kick things, because when I played this for the first time, I was like obsessed with the fact that you can kick things in this game.
Oh yeah.
It is insanely satisfying. And it reminds me, and once again, to talk about Modern Doom, like the glory kills in those games, it's like a funny cartoon version of that. And I don't know, something about that just really brought it all home for me.
See, I enjoyed baiting enemies around a corner and then kicking them in the face.
Yeah. Well, that's also like one of the ways with like those really high HP, like super dangerous enemies where you can just kind of stun lock them. I kind of felt like that was one of the best strategies in those big rooms where there's tons of different enemies later on in hard mode. And hard mode is really hard.
I knew early on that like I wanted him to have some kind of melee attack, and given that you had a little bit of melee already in Gunstar, Sally was right on board with that.
The funny thing was, I didn't even know there was a kick. I literally was like, "There's got to be like a melee attack," and then I joined like the stream on the OS, and then I was like, "How do you kick?" And you're like, right click, and I was like, every button, and I tried besides that one. I was so frustrated.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I mean, I don't blame you, given that like that's not really a thing in Doom.
But I appreciate the inclusion for sure.
I know like GZ Doom, its menus are really kind of not great. So after opening the controls menu and like having a negative experience to say the least, like I just went in game and just started hitting buttons and it felt great. Like I didn't need to go change any settings. There's no need to open any settings in this game. And in fact, it might even be better if the menu was freaking removed. I'm kind of
I don't know about that.
I'm joking.
So,
but
oh my bad.
Yeah.
I got a question
go ahead.
for Sev. Looking at Snap, how come you went with the turtle? I don't think that was asked yet.
You know, that is a great question. So one of the ideas I had originally was I was going to make him a bird. And what ended up happening with that is like, because you guys might know James, who's a developer on the cart team. And you may also know that he is generally represented by a bird. So I'm like, okay, well, I like birds, but we can't have two Jameses around here who are both birds. My real name. I'm like, that's not going to work. So I'm like, okay, well, I know that I know that this character needs to, kind of have like some Rambo qualities and stuff like that. What's a tough animal? And then I kind of didn't really think about it that hard. And then like when I was talking to Oni about the character, he's like, well, man, you just gotta pick an animal you like. I'm like, you know what? I like turtles. Make him a turtle.
Memes aside.
And that
memes
also
aside, like I think turtles are cool.
And that also creates like the absolute like Gex level pun of "let's raise shell."
Yeah, that came along later.
Like, I don't know if this is insulting or a compliment, but I did get a few Gex vibes from the voiceovers.
Like, I was kind of going for more of like a Duke 3D thing. I mean, I haven't really played Gex that much.
And and that's another thing for the voice lines. I know that like originally, like you said somewhere like in the OS that like the voice lines were kind of added later into development.
Yeah. So originally, like we weren't really gonna have them, and then I was thinking about it. And I was like, well, I really want Snap to have a lot of personality. in the game. So one of the original ideas was I was just going to have him say a line like at the start of every level. Most of those lines are still in the game files. We just didn't remove them. Those might end up getting added later, but probably not. But anyway, I just really wanted to kind of give him some personality and sort of put my voice in there. Not like, I mean, yeah, literally, but like also figuratively. Because I just wanted him to be like a cool guy, you know, kind of give like Duke Nukem vibes. Because I think I really, you know, when I played Duke 3D, I really enjoyed like the inclusion of that, and I really thought it made Duke stronger as a character. So.
Yeah, that reminds me. One of the things that I did when I was playing this game that I had way too much fun with is like when I started a stage, I would press E against walls to the beat of the music, and you just go
Yeah.
I'm glad people
That's
enjoy
way
that.
better than the weird Doom grunt.
I was gonna have like 2 or 3 other sounds for you can't do anything with this, but then I was talking to Oni after release. He's like, dude, you can't add them. This is too iconic. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, no.
It is. I would actually uninstall if you changed it.
Damn.
And I remember recording for
cold,
like
bro.
recording for my blind playthrough on my channel. I was like, I hit a wall, and then you know, Snap was like, and I was like, what do you mean, I was like panicking. I was like, what do you mean?
I stubbed my toe on this wall. And
Yeah.
now it hurt.
But yeah, there's like also some unused voice clips for finding secrets and stuff. Because I wanted to have like a large variety of them, but then we ended up I forget how it worked out exactly, but like they ended up overlapping like the sounds for collecting items and stuff, so we had to cut some of those. So if you look into the game files, you'll find a good few unused voice clips.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I wanted to touch on is, so I very recently was able to beat the hard mode version of this game. And I know I mentioned it before, but the way the levels change in hard mode is definitely worth a second playthrough.
Really?
Because there's a lot of like, oh, this door doesn't open, so you have to go a different way, or oh, we're gonna go backwards through this level now, or oh, there's more enemies here, or there's like a completely different room that's exclusive to hard mode, and all of that just adds up, and it's just it's definitely worth a second playthrough. And also, it just kind of like, now that I've played through hard, normal doesn't feel the same in a sense. Like, it's kind of like when you, like, it forces you to have a different understanding of the game, so it really like turns it into more of like a hardcore old school shooter where you don't really get many chances to make any mistakes, and you get to really abuse all the weapons. So I definitely recommend playing on hard mode if you get a chance and you've already beaten it on normal.
Hey,
I would not recommend starting on hard.
Shout out to Sonic X 8K for beating it on Ultra Rude.
Ultra Rude. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think Ultra Rude. I mean, I guess you could try it if you want to, but like the developers, as far as I know, didn't even test it before it was released.
That is what I said a couple times, but it turns out I greatly exaggerated. Sally did test at least the final boss, to my knowledge, on very rude mode. So it wasn't completely untested. It was me who just completely ignored the mode until after release.
Still funny though.
That was so hype when like, cause literally Sonic X 8K was beating the final boss, and
That pop-off was legendary.
yeah, no, like Sev was just like, all right, I'm gonna be right back. I gotta do something real quick. And then as soon as Sev left, Sonic's like, yes, and I was like, oh my god, you did it! And then Sev joins back immediately.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Like, could you blame me? Like he was fighting it for like half an hour or an hour. I'm like, okay, he'll get it eventually, but not yet. Nope.
Nope.
But yeah, like having the remix levels was all Sally's idea. You can really see it in maps 1 and 3, where you get the different opening at the start of map 1, which I don't really want to spoil for people who haven't played it yet. And you get like the whole backwards map thing in map 3, and I was just like really struggling to do much with it. But I think I did I think I did a serviceable job, at least in map 4. But yeah, that's really something that I want to do more with, in whatever comes next.
See, I know
Yeah.
after reading some things you said, I really want to try like mapping for a shooter, or maybe this game specifically.
Oh,
mod
it's fun.
support you. Because
I
you were
actually could
saying
not
it's so much
resist
easier.
making a map for this. I could not resist making a map for this. I recommend it. It also helps you learn UDMF because you're gonna need to learn it.
Which is a great
Yeah,
start.
and like any current SRB2 mapper should not have like that much trouble adapting to Snap's UDMF stuff. Because I mean, you're just working in Ultimate Doom Builder instead of Zone Builder. Beyond that, like line defs are still line defs. Slopes are easier to work with, and all that kind of thing. There's like a wizard that helps you make doors that you can open and stuff. So that gets really
Oh,
easy.
there's a wizard.
Yeah,
I was doing
like,
everything
it's literally a
manually.
button. You just like tell it, oh well, I want the door to have this texture, I want the ceiling to have this texture, I want the floor to have this texture, and I want like the sides like from where it opens to have like this door track texture. And you know,
That would've saved me.
maybe I do or I don't want the what do you call it, the texture offsets reset. Maybe I do or I don't want to apply like the generic door open tags or actions rather. You know, you can put a tag in there too. But yeah, like it's really not that hard to make these levels, which was of course super helpful during development. I mean, one of the reasons we picked the GZ Doom engine to start out with is because it was so easy to prototype things, like not just map wise, but as far as like coding wise too. Because the GZ Doom engine has, I mean, SRB2 has Lua, and sort of the quote unquote equivalent to that is ZScript. Which is, like I said, extremely easy to prototype. You know, you basically get, you know, access to all the actions you would have been able to do with line def actions and decorate, which is Doom's equivalent to sock. So yeah, I mean, it's like SRB2. Like the limits are really just whatever you come up with.
Someone brings up in the chat something I really agree with, and that is this engine renders, like the way it renders lighting and the palette colors is definitely better than SRB2.
For sure.
Like it's actually really nice looking.
Yeah,
Also,
we really wanted to use the palette shader to give it that retro look, especially because Sally made a whole new palette for the game, and it really shines with the palette shader. Because I mean, the way it works is by default it's rendering in like OpenGL mode, with like a shader on top of it. So like, you know, if you mess around with it, you can get true color running, but it just doesn't look as good as with the shader because the palette's just so good.
That's like my big pet peeve with OGL in SRB2. It just doesn't look the same.
that's why I'm a software elitist, in my opinion.
See,
Yeah.
I think if we could get good palette shaders for OpenGL, that'd be really nice. I remember
Yeah.
there was like a build on the Git for it, but I don't know whatever happened to it.
Let's just hope a random person comes out of nowhere and accidentally ports the entire SRB2 to GZ Doom
Yeah, good luck
without
with
anyone asking for it.
that. Good luck with that.
Press the port button.
Yeah, it's that easy. Why hasn't anybody done it yet?
Yeah.
I wish it was
Bob.
easier.
And one last thing I kind of wanted to touch on with this game is the soundtrack, because correct me if I'm wrong, did you, Sev, compose the whole thing yourself, or?
The entire soundtrack is my work, yes. All of the sound effects are my
Yeah.
work too, if you're wondering.
Oh, okay. I had no idea you did all the sound effects too, because those are really, like, a lot of those sound effects are really satisfying. Like, especially the bomb blasts, and just like that gun is amazing. I love that gun.
I'm so
I could talk
glad
about
to
the
hear
bomb
that.
blast. But yeah, I really enjoyed the soundtrack, and you know, in terms of like, if anyone wants to support this game, not only can you know, I think it's only a couple bucks to get a download of the soundtrack on Bandcamp.
It is $4,
Let me see if I
yeah.
can find the link for that so I can put it in the chat.
I mean, honestly, like if you just give them a link to the game page, there's
Yeah,
a
that's
link to the
true.
soundtrack on it if you press more information or something. But yeah, we really appreciate the support we've gotten so far, because there is also like the option to donate through itch.io, and we've had quite a few people support us that way. So thank you to all those people. I had
That's really excellent.
yeah, I had a couple sales for the soundtrack so far, so that goes to me directly. So thank you to those people. We've also got Ko-fi and Patreon and all that. If you check out our various Twitter pages and yeah, it's really great to how do I want to phrase this? I don't know. It's just really great to have the support of the general community, and I'm really glad. And it really motivates me to continue doing. I don't know what's going to be next for Snap, or if we're going to extend the game or make a sequel or what. But I'm definitely not done with Snap. There's going to be something more with Snap eventually.
Lore? Question mark.
Lore. We need to Snap.
I actually like wrote so much lore the other day at work, and I'm afraid I can't tell you any of it because even more of Snap's backstory feeds into ideas I have for sequels.
I'm looking forward to it, my man.
That's hilarious.
I'm so glad.
Snap 2, now in SRB 2.
Could you at least tell me what the shark guy is? What's his deal? Is he just like a big evil businessman?
So let me pull up the itch.io page because I can kind of read
maybe
from that,
I forgot
and then
to read.
yeah, I mean pretty much all the story is on that page, but I'll reiterate for the sake of everybody here.
Oh yeah, I definitely forgot to read. My B.
So Conrad Ocean, the Shark Man, basically he comes from the sea, of course, and he is born into a wealthy family, and he ends up with the family fortune, and then some things happen which I can't really elaborate on right now. But he ends up being exiled from all the world's seas, and he loses his mind basically, and becomes bent on destruction of the oceans. So basically what he does is to go about destroying it is he uses his business knowledge and his wealth to create a business empire and factories and skyscrapers, and he uses corruption, corrupt people that are higher ups in the world and stuff, and he basically makes it so that he can pollute as much as he wants into the ocean.
Wow.
And then he's got most of a worldwide monopoly going. And so, his robot army is there to help him take over, what's left. And, of course, those robots end up in Snap's homeland, which prompts him to stand up and fight for what's right.
They're really cool robots, too. They all have really cool, cute designs, and they kind of all have pretty unique attack patterns that kind of weave together pretty well. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and the 3D models are, of course, really good by Jack.
I was actually going to comment on the enemy design too. I really like all of them. They feel straight up they fit in this universe. And what was it? The
Arson Top is broken.
Arson Top? Yeah, no, I'm fighting one right now. They're scary. I'm just trying not to get hit by them.
Arson Tops will melt you. Yes.
I'm gonna interrupt 1 second to just say I understand that we just spent a million years on Snap. We're probably gonna go super overtime. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll play it by ear, because I know we haven't even talked anything about SRB2 yet. But I'm totally down to just keep it slow and just give everything room to breathe.
We've gained viewers though, so it seems like people are still interested.
Good. I'm very glad.
Dude 64 asks, still waiting on the Crackle and Pop expansions. Any word on that, Sev?
That's it. That's my word.
What?
I didn't hear it. I was too busy laughing.
I did a comically large ha. Right. I wanted to elaborate on the models a little bit, because
yeah, please.
So as you know, Snap the Sentinel was made for Game Jam. We had the luxury of being able to start 2 weeks early because the rules of the Game Jam are so lax. In fact, you can still submit a game right now if you want to, even though the deadline is technically over. So we really wanted to get it done before the deadline, though. So of course, we got Jack's help, and Sally designed the robots, and she wanted them to have kind of simple designs so that they'd be really quick for Jack to model and prototype. Because modeling for GZ Doom is not at all like modeling for SRB2. Because Jack sat down and like completely made Snap and all the animations for him in like a day.
Wow.
Huh.
Good for
Yeah,
Jack.
It's a sad that people don't get to see it until that one room with the mirror.
Yeah, I wanted to use
That's
mirrors
impressive.
a little bit more in the level, but I just didn't have time. I was really crunching to get map 4 done.
Just get let's implement a third-person mode.
There is one.
Yeah, there is one.
Console.
If you type chase in the console, you can do chase cam.
Oh my god. I was looking for all online. I was using Chase Cam because that's like the SRB2 equivalent.
Yeah, in
Ours is
general,
not
like
more this.
in general, the console commands are a little bit different, but you can just go to the GZ Doom, or excuse me, the Z Doom wiki and look them all up for anything you want to change.
Nice. I looked on forum pages and there are people just like, nope, no third person in GZ Doom.
Roll.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
you guys are spoiled by GZ Doom now, and going back to crusty ass SRB2 is gonna feel bad.
Yeah, we gotta clean off some of that crust.
I mean, like Doom Legacy.
Yeah. Yup.
I love the Doom engine. In any iteration, the Doom engine is just, I don't know, there's something about it that just really, like the fact that it's just so easy to draw maps and just, I don't know, the sprite art style that a lot of those games have.
The
It's
rapid
just,
prototyping.
It's kind of magical.
It's
Yeah.
great. That was like actually another reason like we specifically didn't do sprites, because if you sit down and do sprites, you're gonna spend so much time on them. Whereas like, you know, a model takes so much less time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to kind of touch on with Snap before we move on to SRB2 related stuff?
No, not particularly. I just want to remind everybody that the game is downloadable for free right now for Windows at tehrealsalt.itch.io/snap-the-sentinel. You can also wonderful. You can also make it work on Mac and Ubuntu, I believe, because there are separate GZ Doom downloads on the GZ Doom website for that. And I've also found a couple ways to get it running on mobile, but you got to pay for that, and I don't really want to promote that because I'd rather people got to just experience it for free. But yeah, I think that's about it.
I've got one thing
Awesome.
to say, and this is for Lars recording right now.
What's up?
Turn in the console, turn your FOV to 125, and it'll feel like Quake.
Well, I think anything will feel more like.
Oh my god, no.
Oh lord.
Oh wow.
I mean, look, I like my high FOV, but I kind of like to keep it around the 100, 110 range.
Yeah, no, that just kind
I
of
got
gave
used
me a
to it
little
like this. I
nauseous.
was like, what if Quake?
Yeah, that's too much.
Did you guys have anything else for me, or are we about done?
Yeah, I think we're about done talking about Snap.
Okay.
So I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on. And
thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a part of this cool game. Really like one of the biggest like random surprises that I enjoyed from this month. So it's just awesome. So
It's been a rough year, and it's been really rewarding to give people a little bit of a little something they can enjoy towards the end of it.
Wholesome.
And of course, this goes for pretty much any guest that we have on, but you are totally welcome to come on the show whenever you feel like it. Even if we're like 15 minutes into an episode, 2 hours into an episode, if you want to come in and make a poop joke and come out, whatever you want to.
Oh man, see, you shouldn't give me ideas, because now I might have to do that.
Can we get a Danny DeVito impression real quick?
I'm here. I will give you too much power. Do whatever.
Well, I don't know if I could do Danny DeVito.
Officially friend of the show or whatever.
Sure. But yeah, I guess I'll get out of here then. See you guys later.
Thank you once again, Seth, for coming on. Really appreciate it, my man.
You're welcome.
Good night, man.
Good night.